What's up everybody, Todd here. Today we're going to show you how to mount and set up the Rugged Ridge rooftop tent on our Tundra Overland build. The tools I'll be using are an electric impact driver with 13mm socket, a 10mm wrench and 10mm ratcheting wrench, a drill with a 19/64 drill bit, and a tape measure. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to stay up to date with our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put the tent up here on this table. Got a blanket down to keep it from getting scratched up or dirty. Next, what I want to let you know is I undid all the straps and I pulled the tent apart, reached inside, and I pulled out all the contents. You got your ladder that's inside there, some hardware packs, that sort of thing. Get all of that stuff out. I've also gone ahead and flipped the tent upside down. So this is the bottom of the tent. On the bottom of the tent, we've got 4 small holes. Now, I went ahead and put some tape over top of those holes just so you guys can kind of see what's going on because they're small. I want you guys to see it on the camera. All right, next we're going to grab our aluminum rail. Now, if you flip that rail upside down, you're going to notice we've got a couple of holes already machined in the rail. That's going to line up to the holes in the bottom of the tent. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape away, give you a good view of those holes. And this is what the rails will line up to. All right, so now also in your kit, you're going to have some hardware. There'll be a bolt with a washer and a nylock nut on top of it. What we're going to do is we're going to take that nylock nut off, and we're going to slide it into this bottom extrusion on the rail. Now make sure the nylon portion of the nut is facing up. Now it's going to slide into that rail and you'll be captured so it can't spin, but it can still slide back and forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to line that up to the hole in the rail. Next, what we're going to do is take our bolt and washer and reach underneath between the mattress and the floor of the tent, find this hole and push the bolt up through the bottom. All right, next what we're going to do is take our rail with a nylock and line it up to that bolt. And you're going to go ahead and spin that bolt to get engagement into that nylock nut. Once it hits the nylon, it's not going to be able to spin with your hand anymore, so we're going to go ahead to the other side and do the other side as well and get that one lined up. Then we can tighten them both down. Okay, now once we've got both of them lined up, what we're going to do is center the rail side to side. There is room for adjustment back and forth. Now you can either use the included 10mm wrench to reach inside and tighten things down, or I find it a lot easier to use a ratcheting wrench. That's what I'm going to use. We're going to snug them up, don't over tighten them. All right, now we're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side, but this side, you're not going to have to unzip the tent because that's the side that it folds, so you just reach between the mattress and the floor. Okay, now we're ready to mount this on top of our load bars. Now, I've already gone ahead and pulled the load bars off of the truck. It's just going to be a little easier to mount it with the load bars off of the truck. So what we're doing is we're using the Rhino-Rack Vortex load bars. We've got it mounted to the RealTruck XR tonneau cover. And you just want to make sure you have some load bars to attach this to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these load bars, we're going to flip them upside down and set them on top of our aluminum tracks. Now, we're also going to take some slide plates. We've got 8 slide plates in our kit. The slide plates are going to have the nut side up. We're going to slide them into the rail. And we need to have a slide plate on either side of each load bar. All right, now we're going to go ahead and loosely assemble our clamp brackets on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our nylock nuts off the bottom side of the bolts and the slide plates and set these in place and loosely reassemble them. That way we can adjust everything where we want it before we tighten it down. We're going to do that to all four. All right, now that I've got everything loosely assembled, I can adjust everything where I need it before I tighten it down. So what I'll do is I'll center the load bars side to side first, then I'll also measure back first from the front side. This is going to fold out on the driver's side, so this is going to be the front next to the cab. I'm going to bring this back a little bit from the cab. Make sure you know exactly where you want to have it from the cab before you tighten your load bars down. Then I'm going to measure between my load bars to make sure I've got the spacing right on the truck, and then I can go ahead and tighten everything down. Okay, now that we've got this adjusted side to side and front to back, we can go ahead and lock this down. So what I'm going to do is use a 13 millimeter. I'm going to pull up on the bracket. That helps to seat the bolts into the slide plates. Repeat the same on the other three. All right, now at the end of each aluminum rail, we're going to have a plastic end cap that goes on. Now, what you need to do is slide that in place. If it gives you a little bit of trouble, you might need to tap it in, maybe with a butt end of a hammer or something like that. But you just want to get it in and repeat that on all four corners. Okay, so I went ahead and flipped the tent back over. This is now the top side of the tent, and I am on the side that will open up. Now, if you look along this extrusion right here, you're going to notice we've got a couple of holes here and a couple of holes here. I've got my ladder lined up to those holes. Now, you'll notice I've got a couple of plastic pieces that kind of protrude off the end of the ladder. Those are actually just covers that will cover up our ladder bracket. Now, this is the bracket that mounts to the tent that attaches to the ladder bracket. What we're going to do, make sure that these are mirror images and that the plastic washers are facing each other. This is going to come in here and line up to these holes just like so. Do the same on the opposite side. Okay, next what we're going to do is in our kit we've got some long M6 bolts. Those are going to go up through the bottom. So what we're going to do is peel this back. We've got a couple of holes just on the inside of this rail. They're going to be covered up with some tape. I've already gone ahead and removed that tape. We're going to run the bolts up through the holes. All right, now once both of those bolts are through, we're going to put the flat washers on top and loosely attach the nylock nuts. And loosely attach the bracket to the tent on the other side as well. Okay, now before we tighten down our hardware here, we want to go ahead and attach our ladder bracket. So what we're going to do is take this apart. We've got the nylock and the washer to the side. We're going to take our plastic washer off. Let's go ahead and lift up our ladder. We're going to have a bolt and washer goes through this hole. Then we're going to put the washer, the plastic washer through, and then this bracket needs to be to the inside, and this washer needs to be between these two pieces of metal. That's going to go together like so. Then flat washer and nylock nut. We're going to line up the same way on the opposite side and then snug everything down here first, and then we can tighten down this bracket. Now that we've got everything lined up, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the ladder bracket portion first. We're going to use a 10 millimeter on both sides. Do not over tighten this, just get it nice and snug. Now that we have the ladder bracket snugged up, let's go down below and tighten up this hardware. So we're going to hold it with a 10 millimeter down below and tighten it up with a 10 millimeter up top. All right, we can go ahead and discard these, and then when you rotate the ladder, it should just give you a little bit of resistance, and that's it. So now we're going to go ahead and lift it up, set it up on top of the truck. And it looks like I will have to adjust it just a little bit, or maybe not. Okay, so we went ahead and got our Rhino Rack load bars attached and locked into place. Next, what we need to do is attach our tent cover. Now, these straps right here actually go over top of that tent cover when we're transporting the tent. So what we're gonna do is pull those straps loose. Now, at the bottom of this rail, you'll notice we've got a little slot. It goes all the way from one side to the other. That slot is where that tent cover is going to install. So let's grab that and slide it in place. All right, so here's our tent cover. You'll notice on one side we've got a blue bead that's stitched into the side of the cover. That needs to slide into this hole in that slot, and we're going to slide it all the way up to the front. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and deploy the tent. Now you notice we've got a couple of straps over here on this side. I've already released the straps on the opposite side. Once you've pulled loose all 4 straps, you can go ahead and walk over to your ladder, pull the ladder straight out. That's going to give you leverage to pull down on the ladder, which pulls up on the floor. Now, what we're going to do is just deploy the tent just like this. Okay, now I want to point out that this ladder is adjustable and it's also customizable. So if you pull this down, you're going to notice we've got pre-drilled holes already in the ladder down at the bottom, but this ladder actually needs to be adjusted up at the top. So if you notice, whenever I turn this, it's going to, you hear a little click sound. What that does is that unlocks this to where it can drop down into the holes. There we go. And now I'm going to pull it back out to where. So what we need to do, we need to slide the ladder up to get a better angle to where it holds the tent straight up and down, because the ladder is going to support the floor of the tent. So once we know where we want the ladder to be, we're going to take a Sharpie . We're going to drill new holes into the ladder with a 19/64 drill bit. All right, I'll go ahead and clean out that hole and repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, now we can go ahead and pop out our windows. So when you look at the window, what you're going to notice is down at the corner, you've got a little peg coming through here. What we need to do is fish that peg back through. That frees it up. We're going to do on both sides. Now the window is free. We're going to come down here and take a look. We got a couple of slots down here. If you open those slots up, you're going to notice we got some holes inside there. So what we're going to do is get one of our poles, and we're going to slide it into the hole. Now it's going to go at an angle. Once that's in the angle, you want to make sure that the hook is face down. We're going to flex that hook up and put it into the hole up top. Do the same thing on this side. just repeat the same on the remaining windows. Okay, now for your outside flaps, what you're going to do is pull down the Velcro, go around the corner coupler, and strap that down. Repeat that on all 4 corners. Well, that's all it takes to mount and set this thing up. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the product, check the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online at RealTruck.com.